It is Thursday night, July 2nd, 2020. And as I'm doing this, Grappling with Grief isn't ready yet. The website's not ready. Social media channels aren't ready. We don't have the charity tax number yet, which is very important in order to run a legitimate charitable organization. We're just not ready. This morning, I woke up and my plan had been to film content today for Grappling with Grief. And specifically, I was going to film a video series that I was going to do about the second inspiration behind the concept of grappling with grief. I've talked in other videos about my father, who passed away in 2018, and the documentary that I made about the lives of my parents, and how producing that helped me to cope with the grief and the stress that I was dealing with, and how I was able to channel those things into positivity. And that essentially is the inspiration for the concept of grappling with grief. What I haven't talked about publicly until now is that there's a second inspiration for the concept. Back in April of 2019, 5 months after my dad passed away, somebody else close to me was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma. And out of respect for their privacy, I was going to refer to them in this video series as LG. It's been now about 14 months since they were diagnosed, and I wanted to tell their story and talk about their battle and talk about the difficulties. And I really want to raise awareness for, this thing that they're battling, and I want to promote prevention. And so that was my whole plan this morning. And then I get a phone call from LG's husband telling me to come home. And so I packed up a bunch of stuff, and I rented a car, and I made the 3-hour drive to my hometown. And I was told that this morning LG had their latest MRI, and the prognosis was days to weeks. Apparently the tumors are all over their brain now. They've noticeably declined over the last probably 4 to 6 weeks, and the prognosis was days to weeks. And so I decided that under the circumstances, I'm going to change course, and I'm going to reveal who they are. And I'm going to continue to do a video series about them. Again, for the purpose of promoting awareness and promoting prevention, because their story, if it could save even one life, then I think it's worth telling. LG in reality is my sister. Her name is Sheri. I have one sibling. She's 3.5 years older than me. And so, 5 months after my dad passed away, my sister was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma. I will never forget the day. I was sitting in my studio at my office, about 10 minutes away from going live with a podcast that I do every week for a website that I own called Fightful.com. I was about 10 minutes away from going live for that podcast. My phone rings, and it's my sister. And I'm thinking, she wants to say hello, or she needs something quick, or she has a question. So I take the call, and she tells me that news. I get off the call, and I've got about a minute before we go live on the podcast, and I gutted it out. By the time the podcast was done, I didn't even remember any of the topics that we had discussed. But I got through it. And the last 14 to 15 months have been very difficult for my family, and especially for my sister. It goes without saying. And to get this news that we got today, I guess in a way it was expected, because we had noticed the decline, obviously, but you still can never really plan for, news like that. And again, the reason I want to tell this story is, like I said, if I can even save one person, that's worth telling. And in my sister's case, her diagnosis began with an infected mole. She had a mole on the small of her back, and she just never noticed it. It must have changed shape, changed color over time. And it was in an area where she just never noticed it until it started to bother her. And by then, the skin cancer had gotten into her blood. And that's essentially what melanoma is. And by the time she was diagnosed, she had it in various parts of her body. And before long, she had it in her brain. And that's what we're dealing with now. So I'm going to continue to do this series for my sister, tell her story. And again, I want to promote awareness. I want to promote prevention. And yeah, that's all I got to say for now.